Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from worldwide. I'm Sterling. It's great to have you back on the channel. This show is being recorded on Saturday, September 27, 2025, and then posted to all media channels on Sunday, September 28th, 2025. As always, these shows are provided for entertainment purposes only. All the information I share with you comes directly real time. A few of my guides, angels, extended spiritual counsel, ETs, famous people from history, so for entertainment purposes only. Also, if you remember to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, all those things really help the channel. Also, if you'd like to become a member of our Platinum group on YouTube, I do live streams on Friday mornings, Pacific time zone. You're welcome to join our Platinum membership. And the join button is on the front page of the YouTube channel, Sterling Psychic Medium, as well as our website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. First, at the top of the show, I'd like to give everybody a sincere thanks out there and heartfelt thanks from my wife, Linda, and I for reaching, we're actually over 100,000 subscribers now on the channel. And it's a wonderful milestone. We're greatly thankful for it. I certainly want to acknowledge some important people. Linda G, the Comanche Psychic, for doing a wonderful job of making recommendations and supporting the effort, going back 4 or 5 years now. So big thanks from my wife, Linda, going out to Linda G, the Comanche Psychic, as well as like Hyperledger, who diligently does the tremendous job on the timestamps on all of these shows, has been for many years now. I think ever since we started, going back 4 years now, maybe even a little longer. But wonderful job from Hyperledger. A big thank you to her. And also kind of a separate thank you to my wife, Linda, for just such a wonderful job at being executive producer on these shows and taking care of a lot of all the things need to be taken care of, dealing with like 1,000 questions every week, and all the things she does behind the scenes to really make everything a success. So a lot of sincere love, gratitude going out to my wife, Linda G, the Comanche Psychic, Hyperledger. Thanks again. And congratulations to everybody in the whole channel, all the subscribers and Platinum members for supporting the effort. So thank you again. We gather questions for these shows from our YouTube channel. I think there were about 800 questions this week. Right now, we've got 60 questions we're going to answer in real time now. So let's get going on the top of the show here. Question number 60 in the countdown. Pete Hegseth is calling a meeting for the top military brass this coming week. What is the purpose of this meeting? And is this where the military is spurred into action to save our democracy? So I see that this meeting was called in order to try to get alignment from the military and like allegiance to a leader, like a dictator or president. Military is not going to go along with it. This will actually be a deciding factor for the military. And, these are some of the practices that were done by Germany when they had that regime going on, trying to get complete allegiance by super generals to a leader. Not going to happen with the U.S. military. And in fact, this will be one of some very important decision points for the U.S. military. And I do see this as an important element of the AIMS strategy. AIMS is a strategy that my angelic team laid out in November of last year. A standing for analysis, I investigation, M military or movement, and S eventual separation. So this is all part of the plan, overall plan. So I do see that's why the meeting was called, and it's going to have the reverse effect on the military that they would not declare allegiance to a dictator. 59 in the countdown. Will the government start shutting down banks or making it difficult to access our money in the future? I don't see a hard shutdown of all banks. I do see regulatory problems or conflicts between certain banks and the government. But I don't see that this is going to cause a shutdown of the banks or a loss of access to a lot of people and their money. So whatever happens will be somewhat go in some phases here and there, regulatory issues going on, but I don't see that it'd be a shutting down of the banks, no. 58, I've been seeing a number of podcasts and shows such as comedian Josh Johnson, Legal AF, etc., talking about our freedom of speech. Lately, I've seen podcasts regarding possible efforts by 45 to stop the election, seize voting machines under the guise of the election being rigged using forces such as ICE. Governor Gavin Newsom and others are very concerned that 45 will not allow another election going forward. Is this something 45 plans to do? Do you see him being successful in controlling future elections? So this is something the 45 administration is definitely focused on and trying to do. However, they will not be successful. In the end analysis, a lot of individuals and groups coming forward to stop this effort. So certainly that's an intention, very strong intention, all part of Project 2025 plan. Talked about that before on this channel. But this is not going to be successful in terms of derailing the next election. So it won't happen. 57. I've recently heard that France is preparing for a war. The French government has sent letters to homes asking them to prepare. What do you see for France? Any unrest or natural disasters? So I see that the government of France is being overly cautious and careful because of the conflict, like with Ukraine, Russian aggression. I do see them like ramping up military exercises or reinforcements. I don't see a war coming to France, but I do see that out of an abundance of caution, the government is ramping up resources, defenses, doing what they can to be prudent here. But really, a lot of it's based on Russian aggression and what's going on in Ukraine. Okay. 56 is the new Postmaster General at the USPS, David Steiner, going to improve the business and the employee work environment overall. I do see some dramatic positive improvements for the USPS coming by summer of next year of 2026. So it looks like some sort of a good effort going on here. 55, the evolutionary progressive improvement and upgrade to humanity is supposed to raise our vibrations, helping us to be more aware of our psychic mediumship gifts in the psychic realm. Is this evolution also occurring in animals like cats and dogs? Yes, this evolutionary shift that's going on in the world in a good way, a progressive way, is actually affects every living entity on the planet, on Earth, including cats and dogs, even trees. Everything is affected by the increase in loving vibration and the fact that the veil is getting thinner to the other side. More and more people have psychic and mediumship gifts they can display and utilize in their lives. Yes. 54 are the timelines that your team relays to you, such as those pertaining to the current administration, dependent on certain key people having the courage to do the right thing? Or does it all depend on the free will of humans, or can there be divine intervention or intervention from ETs? So it's all based, the information that comes through from my team is all based out of the Akashic records. Now, free will affects everything that's on the planet, but free will doesn't derail life plans or what's in the Akashic records. It controls the three S's, which are speed, scope, and scale. So I use the analogy all the time. My team does. You think about a slinky toy that large spring toy. So it's all connected as one mass. If you think about that as a sequence of events on Earth, that slinky, you can expand the slinky, you can contract it, control the speed, the scope, the scale of it. Yeah, so speed, scope, and scale have an effect as to how this timing happens. By and large, timing usually lines up fairly well, but yes, so everything that is involved in the universe is in the Akashic record. So to go a step further, whether you're talking about Homo sapiens sapiens or angels or guides, extraterrestrials, they're actually all part of the Akashic record. Akashic record, by the way, just as a reminder, is everything in the universe, all information, past, present, and future. 53, will there ever be a crackdown on the money laundering schemes disguised as religious organizations in the United States? I do see starting out in the year 2030, there's going to be new tax regulations. They're going to affect roughly 1/3 of all religious institutions above a certain threshold of income or money. So there's going to be a shift here. About 1/3 of religious organizations coming under taxable status, for example, by about the year 2030. 52. As predicted, Sterling, by you and your team, the rapture did not take place. Will this be a turning point for many MAGA followers or MAGA people and finally wake them up to the truth? No, they're actually just push the can further down the road. So there'll be other individuals that will come up with new rapture event stories. Rapture is quote religious text. It's certainly 3 days of darkness and a second coming and lots of events. But that's actually in religious text. But the MAGA faithful, if you will, looks like we'll kick the can down the road. More religious leaders will come through with more potential rapture dates. But by and large, this is all nonsensical. Okay. 51, new tariffs were just announced starting October 1st, 2025, which are 50% on specific items such as kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities, upholstered furniture, etc. This is different as it is on specific items, not a specific country. Do you see them actually going into effect this coming week? And how long do you see this lasting? I see these will go into effect, but by and large be retracted by the beginning of next year, by the beginning of 2026. So something about they go into effect and then they come back out again. 50, are there some extraterrestrials that are the size of an insect? Or are there ET drones, robots the size of a mosquito? So there are no extraterrestrials the size of insects. Maybe some people confuse different types of, the praying mantis extraterrestrials with actually the insect. No relationship whatsoever. People refer to them as the praying mantis extraterrestrials because they have that kind of an appearance. So no extraterrestrials are the size of insects. However, there is advanced drone technology used by extraterrestrials that is nano level. When I say nano, it refers to the term nanometer, which is 1/1000th millimeter. So think about that in size. There are drone technologies that are nano size, developed by extraterrestrials, but extraterrestrials themselves are not the size of insects. So hopefully that clears all that up. 49, will the government ever change the qualifications for U.S. Supreme Court justices, such as requiring prior judicial experience, like serving as a constitutional lawyer? Yes, I see all these amendments coming to the Constitution, but it's more like the year 2032 when we finally see all that happen. 48, the U.S. job market for white-collar office-type jobs has been poor for many months now, with many economic factors and data points to back this up. More people are out of work for longer periods of time than at any time in history. When will the job market for white-collar jobs turn around and hiring pick up? I see that by the end of 2026, let's say the white-collar job market will start picking back up again. It looks like after that election cycle that there's more confidence in businesses. There's less confusion and uncertainty about the future. Remember, businesses hate uncertainty. So it'll be more predictability. It looks like it starts coming up at the end of 2026 in relationship to white collar jobs. 47, what will become of the Federal Trade Commission now that the Supreme Court ruled 6-3, allowing 45 to dismiss the last Democratic member, signaling a potential overturn of a 90-year-old ruling protecting independent agencies from executive control? You know, we're now on a trajectory of about 12 to 18 months here where the administration is going to do some things that are very counterproductive to the economy. It looks like they will try to take control of things, agencies like the SEC. That's going to disrupt global financial markets and confidence in systems. Next 12 to 18 months here, it looks like these decisions being made are going to cause a disruption, and then there'll be reconciliation. It'll kind of come back into stability. So, yeah, what's going on with the FTC is going to cause some disruption in a number of agencies, including the SEC. 46, 45 just gave a severe dressing down to the United Nations, criticizing every country. What was each leader thinking while hearing this? He particularly emphasized Europe's mistake following the green energy revolution and immigration policies. I get they firmly believe, understand that the U.S. has a leadership problem right now. And it's a leadership alignment that doesn't go with the rest of the world. So they're actually understand they have to buy time until things resettle and come back into some kind of an order. But right now they realize that from a global responsibility standpoint, they're going to find it difficult to rely on the U.S. So we got a little bit of a transition phase going on here. 45 in the countdown. People report feeling frozen when they encounter an extraterrestrial. Is this because the ET possesses the ability to control the person's movement, or is it simply the person's overwhelming fear? Extraterrestrials do have the ability to freeze time. Now, they don't use that a great deal. The reason a lot of people seem to get frozen, it's complete astonishment at what they're seeing. Never witnessed anything like it. It's usually the reaction when people see extraterrestrials. So it's really more astonishment, but a small percentage of circumstances, extraterrestrials can freeze you in your tracks, so to speak, so that they can shift out of sight, shift out of the way, get out of any harm. 44. Will California be able to enforce the law that states ICE cannot wear masks and need to show ID? The administration says they will not comply. It appears California will stand on this law, and actually several other states are going to implement this as well. So it's going to go forward. 43, will CRISPR genetic engineering technology bring help for people's eyesight and those who do not wish to wear glasses as they get older? You know, within 5 years, there's going to be very important CRISPR genetic engineering developments that are really going to be very helpful to a lot of people with vision problems. That'll be the start here, now 5 years by the year 2030. 42, you often speak of ETs working diligently for the benefit of humanity. Why would they want to do this? They're protecting the Earth School and the Earth Laboratory for generations to come, very simply. 41, during 45's UN address, the teleprompter failed, then he began to ramble. His irritation was completely obvious. Did the other world leaders intentionally create that situation to provoke him and expose his true character? Not the world leaders that were there, but it does appear that there were individuals behind the scenes that actually helped create this difficulty in a way to kind of cause some embarrassment. It wasn't the world leaders directly. It was some people working behind the scenes. 40. Hello, Sterling. 45 is going after the ICC, International Criminal Court. Is he aware of a looming problem for him? How might this slow down or speed up the S or the separation element in the AIMS strategy? I see this is actually going to speed up the process, help to speed up the process due to comprehensive understanding of kind of what's going on in the world here. So it's almost going to ignite, cause some more ignition, things to accelerate forward a little bit more. 39, the election interference reveals part of the AIM strategy that will result in S for the separation decertification phase. Is it here yet? So, as discussed on prior shows, almost every facet of the AIM strategy that was laid out by my guides and angels in November of last year, it actually we're kind of sitting on top of it. They're kind of starting to all these phases are starting to run complementary and parallel. So if you look at what's happening with the military this week, and you look at things happening in the world and information coming out, remember the A is analysis, I is investigation. Look at Jeffrey Epstein information starting to leak out, will come out in completion. All these phases are running in parallel right now. Okay, 38 in the countdown. How can the Akashic records have the future already recorded if free will is always an influence? So even your free will decisions that you believe are free will are already in the Akashic records. I always say if you think it, it's already part of your life path. It's actually already in the Akashic records. Down to every last detail of the universe is contained in the Akashic records. 37. There are reports of large booms and significant cracks in the earth coming from eastern Idaho near Rigby and Eagle and other areas as well. No one seems to know what the cause of these events are. It's reported that they start after dark, sometimes 2 or 3 times a night, and are so loud they shake people's homes. Some have an explosive light that can be seen what is going on. This is related to tectonic plate shifts in the area. There's hundreds of earthquakes going on. A lot of tectonic plate shift in this particular region of the country. So these booms, these sounds, even the light flashes are all coming through movement in the earth. It's all related to seismic activity. Number 36. Is water a healing agent? How does it work? So, not directly a healing agent, but it's a grounding force. It neutralizes a lot of energy that we have on our bodies. Think about static electricity or energy you take in. It's very much it's a neutralizing, grounding force as well as a soothing, comfortable temperature feel. So, many aspects to it kind of tend to help realign the body, calm the body down, desensitize it from things going on. So, not directly healing, but certainly complementary to other things you might already be doing in your life. 35. Do pets know ahead of time who will be adopting them? Yes, absolutely 100%. Animals understand they're from the angelic realm. They understand what part they play in your life. 34. How are our spirit guides, angels, other beings able to help us and be available at all times? It is my understanding they have their own unique experiences somewhere else in time during our actual time on earth. So the heaven dimension, right, where angels and guides exist and family members, that dimension moves faster than the speed of light. So what feels like, for example, just a broad sense, 1 second on Earth could be 1 year on the other side. So it's not hard for them to answer a call, like picking up the phone, so to speak, and answering a phone call once in a while. But by the way, by and large, this is where I understand, people on Earth, a lot of people try to use things they understand as humans, Homo sapiens sapiens, and use that to try to reference things going on in other dimensions like heaven, a dimension moving faster than the speed of light, a dimension where if you think it, you create it, a dimension where only love exists. You don't have fear, anger, jealousy. I know it's hard. So this is part of the evolution of humanity that's all going on right now. 33. 33. What will the ramifications for Disney be with the Jimmy Kimmel cancellation effectively citing against freedom of speech? They'll rebound within a few days, few weeks. It's gonna rebound. It'll be part of kind of the media talking points. However, The event itself, I think this question is really more about, reflections on Disney. But I said last week when this came up that Jimmy Kimmel would be restored, my team said, and also that this is going to be another flashpoint of people really taking action. So yes, in a way, Catalyst, that event with Jimmy Kimmel and ABC and Disney actually raised the topic of freedom of speech to a very heightened level where a lot of people decided to take action. That's what it was all about. In terms of Disney, they'll rebound in a fairly short period of time. So, but the benefit it had to humanity is here. Okay. 32. How will people's fears of ETs be calmed down before and during the final full disclosure? No change in anyone's current level of fear or comfort. What you have now is where you're going to be meeting extraterrestrials. So, whatever understanding you have now or comfort level, that's what you're going to have. Nobody's going to get hurt. This is the benefit of humanity. But what you're dealing with right now is kind of your baseline. So, I feel you need to kind of ramp that up a little bit. By all means, do that. But it's nothing about calming people's fears. Everybody's going to bring to the table right now where they're kind of at right now in their comfort level or understanding of extraterrestrials. 31. When ETs placed our ancestors on Earth, were they directly deposited as modern humans or ape-like ancestors? Did Homo sapiens sapiens genuinely undergo the evolutionary process as scientifically documented? No evolutionary process as described where Homo sapiens sapiens evolved from ape-like creatures. So there were early versions of Homo sapiens sapiens that were deposited, or Homo sapiens, humanoids or whatnot that were deposited here on Earth. And kind of humanoids are like individuals that look like humans, but maybe something else. So I'll call them humanoids for using that term. Apes, part of another part of the spectrum, if you will, of spiritual entity. Animals are separate, but no, there wasn't an evolutionary process as described. Individuals, what became Homo sapiens sapien, were deposited on Earth in various areas by various ET groups in areas that are very very unique to each one of the cultures, but not not evolution or not evolutionary from apes. Okay. 30. Will the Booga Spear be used to teach an AI program languages we have not yet learned or meaning of the markings etched on the sphere itself? So remember, all these spheres on Earth, there are thousands of these spheres. These are communication devices that were placed here by various extraterrestrial groups. Yes, in some respects, as artificial intelligence ramps up and we get involved with what are called deep learning or LLMs, language learning models, AI will utilize some of the information that'll come from these spheres. So it's going to be help. But these spheres have been down on the planet. There are thousands of years. There are thousands down here. There are communication and even surveillance devices placed here by extraterrestrial groups, and they will help. They'll be complementary to the evolution of AI here on Earth. 29. When we go through our life review, do we feel everything just as powerfully as when we lived? Or is it more like watching a movie where you can dispassionately examine our lessons and start planning with our guides and angels what the next life will look like? No, it's not like a movie. It's like a real life experience. It's like a virtual reality, immersive entertainment experience where you actually see and feel and hear everything that went on. That's part of the learning experience. So no, it's not just like a movie. It's like a real experience here on Earth. And that's all meant to move you through the process of learning. Actually, what it does is it helps your soul DNA to expand and to grow. Soul DNA is your soul that moves lifetime to lifetime. But no, it's not just like a movie. It's very real. 28. Will NATO take direct action against Russia after the recent drone incursions over Poland? No, not for now. They're actually going to view this as very much a Russian provocation, right? And it's not something, NATO's not going to take direct action. They're actually going to, it's very strong words. You're going to see some Russian drones shot down over some NATO territories, NATO related country territories. But this will not be a direct military action by NATO, unless you want to consider shooting down Russian drones. But I don't see that them push NATO pushing forward into like a large scale war. 27. The Supreme Court is expected to strike down the last part of the Voting Rights Act. Will this ever get passed into law? So what I'm getting is that not whatever this question was, I'm not getting that the whole Voting Rights Act is being struck down, but maybe something like Section 2 of it. And maybe Section 2 has a lot to do with enabling the ability of minorities to vote or ensuring there. I do see them weakening Section 2. I do see that. And then for some reason, within about a year to a year and a half, this will be retracted. It'll all get restored again. So something here short term related to Section 2 in the Voting Rights Act will be affected. 26. It's been reported that two-thirds of the 1,800 detainees at Alligator Alcatraz are unaccounted for, not on ICE records, and families are highly concerned. What happened to them? They unfortunately were all deported to other countries and dropped off. Now, what I see is that a lot of these other countries are going to be aware of this, and there's actually going to be communication channels developed from these other countries back to the U.S. So a lot of the families are going to end up understanding where their loved ones are. In many cases, they'll be able to get them back or get in contact with them. So I see all these, almost like an octopus, all these new communication channels opening up with other countries where these detainees were dropped off. So, and that's coming very soon here within weeks. Yeah, it's not just months, but it looks like it's coming very soon. 25. When Ronald DeFeo murdered, or it might be DeFeo or DeFeo, murdered his family in the Amityville house in New York, was he the lone killer? I do see that he was the lone killer. And it looks like he was prosecuted. I don't know, there's like half a dozen, 6 counts of murder or something. It looks like he was the lone killer. I'm not sure. I'm not really familiar with all the details of the Amityville case. And I think there was a movie, right? Amityville Horror House or something, Horror House. I don't know if that's all about, but anyway, it looks like he was the killer, convicted, maybe 6 different killings here, and served time. Okay. Oh, they're saying he actually might be dead. I'm sorry, maybe already passed away by now. Okay. Already, I don't know, but my team's saying it looks like he's now left. He's also left the planet. 24, you stated before that pets are part of our overall life path blueprint. A year before my friend passed away from cancer, I got a green cheek parrot named Millie. She ended up with my family when my friend's mother and sister couldn't take care of her anymore. Was she ultimately always meant to be with us even before he picked her out? Yes, so all animals are part of our distinct life path. And actually, remember, all animals are here to teach us a lesson of the heart. And this also created a connection for you with your friend, right? Before your friend passed away. I think you said, yeah, your friend. So this connection, animals do this all the time. They have a very high level blueprint. They're here from the angelic realm, not angels, but they're with the unconditional love. They're here to teach us lessons. This is a very good example of the way some animals will try to bridge the heart lessons between multiple people. Somebody passing away, somebody's still here. 23. Will someone fulfill their life's purpose if they go against obvious signs for their spirit guides and angels? For example, there were many signs given to not marry someone, but you do it anyway, and have a difficult marriage, but stay together anyway. If your team tried to warn you, then are you still on your life path? So you can never get off your life path. That's what's the only part. Now, you can certainly remember the 3 S's always affect your life path: speed, scope, scale. How fast do you learn lessons? Do you go down the wrong turn? Well, there's really no wrong turn. This is all about lessons in life. So if you in fact marry somebody, it's absolutely in your life path. Remember, and we have extended large spiritual families on the other side, thousands of members. So when you come down here, you're actually down here with groups from your extended soul family. Maybe you marry, boyfriend, girlfriend, children, biological children, stepchildren, adoptive children. They're all part of your extended soul fam, all part of your life lesson, and it is your life lesson. So not really getting, you don't really get off your path, just the way you choose to learn those lessons. 22, with all the renovations that 45 is doing to the White House, it appears that he is preparing it for his permanent residence. What are his motivations for building a ballroom? Simply put, ego and trying to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. That old phrase where you're trying to keep up with your neighbors. For some reason, he feels in competition with other world leaders, primarily based in ego here. 21. Is Anonymous still playing an active role behind the scenes and helping to manifest the true nature of the election and the AIM strategy? Yes, they've been researching as well as releasing information worldwide, will continue to do so. They're an important factor among many factors in the truth coming out worldwide relative to the recent elections, right? 20. Did the Atlant did the Atlantis Hall of Records indicated by Edgar Casey ever exist? I don't see that they ever existed. There were halls of records for Atlantis. They were destroyed. I know some have said that some feel that they're under the Sphinx in Egypt under one of the paws. And my team has said there are no Atlantis Hall of Records under the paw of the Sphinx or in Egypt for that matter. There were, but these Hall of Records were destroyed long ago. Okay. 19. Will the European Union be successful in their help to Ukraine without the U.S.? Will all the EU nations hold strong against Russia bullying drones, invading their airspace? Yes, collective EU efforts will be a very strong deterrent to Russia, even without the U.S. 18. Hi, Sterling. I am heartbroken after having to give my beloved dog to another family member due to aggressive behavior towards another dog of mine. I am wondering whether pets in this kind of situation know they are loved and not abandoned, and whether this was her path to be on and placed in a new family. Are pets aware of their path and behavior and ways to make changes in their lives, such as this? Yes, so all animals, all pets are divinely guided as part of their life plan, your life plan. And in this case, this was actually kind of a milestone in the pet's life to say move from one family to the other. It's all part of a master plan. So people might think, oh, I had to do this because there was an animal behavior problem. It's actually on the animal's life path to make that move, to facilitate that move. So this is the way the universe works in synchronicity with every other life path. Remember, all of our life paths are interconnected, not just Homo sapiens sapiens, but also animals too. 17, will the truth ever be revealed about Jeffrey Epstein's murder, death, and who was behind it? Yes, the world will definitively know how this all went down, how it took place by the end of this year, 2025. 16, is there any correlation between the number of reincarnation one has had and the amount of trauma or health issues they experience in a lifetime? Yes, in many cases, old souls, and we're talking reincarnations that push towards 100 or over 100 reincarnations, moving into thousands of reincarnations. Old souls will always come down and offer to experience greater levels of trauma to work through them and then to help others before they leave. So you think about people that experience very heavy traumas, many times as they work through it, they might become medical professionals, they might become counselors, they might open up organizations that help families, all sorts of reasons for doing that. Or there might be medical conditions they have to help doctors make new discoveries. So yes, level of reincarnations or number directly relates sometimes to being older soul and the kinds of traumas you come down here. 50, Was Gene Roddenberry collaborating with extraterrestrials to develop and write the original visionary Star Trek series? Not ETs directly, but he actually had very good communication with his angels and guides that actually did facilitate communications with with the Akashic records, and even some cases, some other extraterrestrials. So I don't see direct communication with Gene, but he had a very good connection with his angelic team, which facilitate all that information. 14, what is the future of the United Nations Security Council and the United Nations itself? I see they're going to be a force in the world for many decades to come and will actually be part of the overall alignment with what is called the Galactic Federation. Think about that as the United Nations in the sky involving lots of extraterrestrial groups. So yes, they'll be a factor for decades to come. 13, what are ghosts or do they not exist? If ghosts do exist, then do they create different types of energy? So ghosts are a very broad spiritual term for all sorts of spiritual entities. And there are lots of different types of ghosts. Um, Ghosts can show themselves anywhere from like an orb to a full-scale apparition, but it's really energy that exists in another dimension. Most of the time, it's the heaven dimension, but they can exist or look at different ways depending on what they're trying to show you or what they're capable of. Yes, they have different types of energy. Some are angelic, some are family members. Yes, it's all very true, but not really harmful by and large. If you attract in what they call prankster spirits, they can waste a lot of your time. So you have to be careful when you communicate with the other side. Quick protective prayer. You want to stand supreme protective white light, those kinds of things. Nothing scary, but anyway, yeah, there are different types of ghost energies or spirit energies. And some can even facilitate moving physical objects, like even throwing a brick across a room. So different ways of interacting, different types of ghosts, but they're real. 12. When full disclosure of extraterrestrials is out in the open, much more, will these affect human wars? Will actually stop humans in any current wars? Yes, so all humanity will become less violent once full disclosure takes place. They'll realize that they didn't understand how the universe was created, what's going on in the universe, what the one force, the one source is, the advanced degree of extraterrestrial defense systems that make what's going on here on Earth not as potent. But yes, the full disclosure and what's happening will be happening very shortly here will actually cause a lot of world governments to simmer down and to try to get more aligned. It will happen. And this is all part of the big shift that's happening by the year 2050. Full disclosure will happen very short. It's already started. Full disclosure has already started. Not everybody's aware of it yet, but it's already started. And in about 2 years, everybody will be very aware of full disclosure of extraterrestrials. That will then tend to simmer down a lot of conflicts in the world. 11. Will there be a cure for mitochondrial diseases and a way to reverse damage, hearing loss, vision loss, organ damage to increase energy? This is all part of genetic engineering, CRISPR technology. For these particular diseases or ailments, they're more like 10 years out. So you can look for the year 2035, big advances in this area. 10. Will Elon, ever stop messing with different countries' elections? Not for about 8 to 10 years. Looks like he's still going to have a hand in different countries' elections for about 8 to 10 years here to come. And then for some reason, he goes away. Like it's not an issue for him or he doesn't interested in it anymore. Not what that's all about, but there's a shift for him in 8 to 10 years here. He won't be interested in world politics. 9. When I meditate or I'm close to sleeping state of mind, I can see the most beautiful complex patterns of light in the most brilliant colors. I can see these patterns whether my eyes are open or closed. Some are so complex that I have difficulty comprehending them. Can you please explain what I'm seeing? And is there a way for me to better understand them? This is all part of you moving through what's called the lucid dream state. That's when you relax your logical mind and you open yourself up to the intuitive, to what's on the other side. This is moving through the lucid dream state, very common. Now, if you push the lucid dreaming state even further, you get out into what can be called astral travel. You can actually disconnect your soul from your body. And that's where a lot of times, a lot of remote experiences can occur, or seeing other dimensions or traveling. But you're coming through a lucid dream state. Now, for you, whoever asked this question, you have a fairly heightened clairvoyant gift. Remember, there are 8 fundamental clairs. Clairvoyance is the ability to be able to see. Whoever asked this question, I would definitely pursue developing your clairvoyant side. Looks like you have a nice clairvoyant ability that can be built up, and you can actually grow it to a level where you can see images or movies in your waking state and then be able to interpret those for yourself or whoever's around you. Sometimes those can be precognitive things. 8. Will there be a cure for type 2 diabetes? Yes, here again, by 2035, big advances coming to humanity in a lot of these areas. And type 1 and type 2 both will be addressed within about 10 years here by genetic engineering, CRISPR technology. Remember, there are thousands of companies working on CRISPR genetic engineering technology, not just one. So the solutions are going to come from a myriad of different companies around the world. 7, while I am not Catholic, I certainly do like the new Pope, but other psychics are saying that they see him not being Pope for a long time. What do you see for the future of this Pope? I see that he'll be Pope for like at least another decade. So I don't see him going anywhere soon, but I see at least another decade here for him. 6, last year on the secret of Skinwalker Ranch, a carcass of a wolf-like creature was found. It had the jawbone of a dire wolf, which has been extinct for over 10,000 years. Is this a crossbreed only now being discovered, or were ETs responsible for this creature? I get this is all part of an evolutionary process. So whatever they found there was part of evolution. Sometimes people don't always understand evolutionary process around specific animals, but I get wasn't deposited. Now, if you go back far enough, millions of years, everything deposited here came from various ET groups. But in terms of what they just found on Skinwalker Ranch, it looks like it's more evolutionary and kind of recent humanity's history, okay? 5, how can the Akashic Records have the full already recorded free will? Is there any other type of influence? I think we touched on this earlier in the show. Might be a little different kind of a question. But remember, free will always affects everything on our life path, speed, scope, and scale. It doesn't take you off your life path, but controls how fast you move, how many people you affect, to the extent of how you affect the world. That's very true around everybody's life path. 4, how much longer in the future will it be before women get the menopause care that we deserve? Will there be more research towards women's health? As fast as 4 to 5 years here, there's going to be genetic engineering developments in 4 to 5 years. It'll be very helpful to women in this area. It's going to be the start. So again, not a doctor, but I think there's a lot of hormonal issues but it looks like within 4 to 5 years here, big breakthroughs in genetic engineering, and then it'll expand beyond there. And number 3, number 2, and number 1. I always take notes before I start these shows, so I will read those back to you right now. Number 3, do your ET friends have anything they want to share? Look up in the skies if you ever want to confirm our presence. We will never leave you or this planet that we value beyond words, and we want every element of humanity to show the same respect that we share among us. Number 2, what do you see coming up next week? New Midwest school violence that is linked to recent political events. New recognition of a Palestinian state and endorsements by several additional new countries. New movement in the M portion of the AIM strategy that calls for unification of government and the need for immediate change for the betterment to safeguard the future and our democracy. New cattle diseases that affect large groups of cattle in the Midwest and eastern U.S. states. New creation of a simple way to digitally register to vote in many states that undermines the counter efforts by the 45 administration to minimize various voting groups. Death of a senior member of Congress announced. New detection of a measles outbreak in several states that requires immediate action. New earthquakes around the world, including Russia, Indonesia, as well as locations like Spain, France, and Australia. New West Coast U.S. earthquakes, mid-coastline, and out at sea several miles. And number one in the countdown, do you have anything your guides want to share? Show the world who you are at this critical time in our evolution, and the world will thank you for that. On that note, that concludes the show being recorded today on Saturday, September 27th, 2025, deployed to all media platforms on Sunday, September 28th, 2025. As always, if you want to join our Platinum membership and be involved in live streams that I do on Friday mornings Pacific time zone, as well as access to hundreds of videos in the archive, the join button for our Platinum membership is on the front page of our YouTube channel, Sterling Psychic Medium, as well as our website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. Again, I want to thank everybody for helping us achieve a wonderful milestone on this channel. We feel blessed to have everybody's participation and sending a lot of love back out to everybody for reaching that over that 100,000 subscriber milestone. And overall, on that note, I'm going to send out a lot of goodwill and tremendous love to you and your families. Take care. I will see you all again very soon.